2026, the US government will move more than $3.7 trillion in a single year. That number doesn't sound real anymore, so let me slow it down. That's more money than most countries produce in their entire economy. And whoever controls Congress after the midterms doesn't just vote on laws, they decide where that money flows. Defense, healthcare, energy, artificial intelligence, debt. And here's the part people miss. You don't need to win power to influence money. You just need power to become uncertain. When power becomes uncertain, markets react. They call it volatility. That's a fancy word for things start moving fast. Prices swing. Risk premiums rise. Money changes hands aggressively. In simple terms, when people don't know what happens next, someone makes a lot of money. Now think about elections. Elections are supposed to reduce uncertainty. They're designed to give a clear answer. But what happens when elections do the opposite? Be honest with yourself. Do you think the next major US election will feel clear or contested? This is where Donald Trump becomes relevant, not as a person, as a force. Love him or hate him, Trump does one thing extremely well: he destabilizes expectations. Not votes, expectations, which means people stop being sure. And when people stop being sure, systems slow down. Courts delay, markets hedge, institutions brace. That delay alone moves billions of dollars. Is that intentional? I don't know. But whether it's intentional or not almost doesn't matter anymore. Here's where this stops being about Trump. Because incentives don't belong to people. They belong to systems. Democrats raise billions warning about Trump. Republicans raise billions warning about institutions. Both sides win financially from fear. In 2020, over $14 billion was spent on US elections. That wasn't chaos. That was proof of concept. Fear converts, outrage converts, stability doesn't. And the unsettling part, nobody has to plan this. The system rewards it automatically. This is why midterms matter more than people think. Presidents get headlines. Congress controls machinery. Congress controls investigations, budgets, judicial confirmations, and regulatory pressure. In business terms, Congress controls the operating environment. Change the operating environment, and outcomes shift on their own. So as 2026 approaches, are we preparing for clarity or bracing for conflict? Outside the US, this looks very different. Foreign governments don't care about culture wars. They care about dollar stability, bond markets, and predictability. The US dollar backs over $25 trillion in global assets. If elections become permanently disputed, borrowing gets more expensive, debt grows faster, inflation pressure rises, which means groceries cost more, rent rises faster, savings lose value. Politics becomes economics whether you like it or not. People ask, what's the real conspiracy? The answer is boring, and that's what makes it dangerous. No secret rooms, no master plan, just incentives. Because incentives don't belong to people. They belong to systems. Trump didn't invent this, he exposed it. And once something is exposed, you can't unsee it. Do you think the next major US election will feel clear or contested? Most systems don't collapse loudly, they drift. Until one day, nobody agrees on reality. So will the 2026 election be rigged? Probably not. Will it be contested, delayed, challenged, and financially exploited? Almost certainly. You don't need democracy to fail for it to stop working properly. You just need people to stop agreeing on outcomes. At that point, the system still runs, just for different reasons. Democracy isn't collapsing, it's being financialized. Elections are becoming markets. Trust is becoming leverage. Uncertainty is becoming profit. So here's the final thought. If an election happens and half the country refuses to accept the result, who actually won? You don't need to answer me, but if you leave a comment, answer this honestly. Clarity or chaos, one word is enough. Because the fact that this question exists at all tells you exactly where we are.